Hey guys, welcome to today's video, and today we're going to be going over everything email segmentation. So if you want to understand who to send to, who not to send to, how to build strategy out of your segments, this is going to be a full tutorial on that, and we're going to be using Klaviyo as the example. But before we dive in, just a quick introduction. My name is Josh. I'm the founder of Blackburn Digital, which is a D2C and e-commerce retention marketing agency, and we help brands grow revenue and profit through retention strategies. If you're new to the channel, hit a subscribe, like, comment. It really helps. This is still a really small channel, so all the support is great. But let's get into it. So what are we going to go into today's video? We're going to quickly go over what's the difference between lists and segments. We're going to be going over segmentation mistakes to avoid, and that's going to be the foundation of what we go over. Then we're going to go over inclusion and exclusion segments, why they're both important, what can you use, and examples of when you'd use them. And then lastly, how can we use segmentation for actually building strategy? So firstly, what is the difference between lists and segments? So if I've got two examples here, the first one here is a list and here is a segment. The best way to think about this is a list is where a sole place where everyone goes. So whether they've checked out on Shopify, whether they've signed up to an email list, or whether they've joined you from the footer and signed up, they will all go in to one main list. And I always recommend having one main list just for account health. And then a segment is basically a group of people from that list that match certain criteria, whether it's engagement, whether it's that they've purchased something, whether that they haven't engaged for a while. It's all taken from that top list. So as a hierarchy, you would have lists at the top, and then we would have loads of different segments under those lists depending on what we decide to choose to make. So mistakes to avoid. So firstly, over segmenting, making your audience too small. It might make sense that the smaller the audience, the more targeted you can be. But the one thing we need to realize is we want to make as much impact as possible. We want to make the most out of the resources as possible. When creating an email, you're putting in effort into copy, into design, into strategy. And doing all that work for an email that's only going to be going to 10, 20, 30 people, it doesn't really make logical sense for the business. So one mistake to avoid for sure is to just not make your audience too small. Secondly, kind of the reverse of that is under segmenting. So on the flip side, you also don't want to batch and blast your email list. You know, that's one sure way of ruining your deliverability, ruining your account health. So you don't want to just create an email and be like, right, I'll just send it to this list of 60,000 people. You want to be smart with segmenting. So it's a fine balance of you don't want it to be too small, but you don't want it to be too big. Thirdly, ignoring key exclusion groups. We'll get onto this later, but it's just as important who you don't send to. When you go into Klaviyo, when you go into an email ESP, there's a section that who you're sending to and who you don't want to send to. And this is super important, again, to maintain account health, deliverability, and to have good engagement metrics. And lastly, ignoring strategy segments. So some segments can be great for strategy, and we're going to be going over that in the end of the video to understand how we can use those segments and what questions can we ask. But firstly, let's get straight into it. So we're going to be going over 4 key exclusion segments. We're going to be going over the core engage segment. We're going to be going over a domain specific segment, a zero party data segment, and a customer journey segment. So a core engagement segment. So this segment is basically based around engagement of your brand. This is the most commonly used segment audience when it comes to email marketing. It's basically saying for whatever period of time, let's group together everyone that's shown engagement within our brand and send them the email. So if we look at this example here, we've gone for the 90 days. They've clicked at least once in the last 90 days. They've opened at least once. Where Apple privacy open equals false. This is really important. Since the iOS updates, the open rate metrics have just become a lot less reliable. So you want to make sure that you always exclude Apple privacy just for more accurate reporting. They've started checkout at least once in the last 90 days. They've viewed a product at least once in the last 90 days. Added to cart. Okay. Added to cart at least once in the last 90 days, active on site, and then created, and then obviously they have to have been subscribed. So The time frame of this segment does depend on the goals of your business. You want to make it as broad as possible while maintaining great deliverability. So 90 days engaged is a great start. I like opting for 180-day engaged. I feel like it maximizes the impact with resource. But again, depending on your goal will depend on the time frames. But there's also two other ways we can split this. We can split this into engaged for a prospect and an engaged for a customer. So a prospect is someone that has never purchased with you. So this is a great way of creating an email and be like, right, this group of people have never ever bought a product from us. How can we create a deal or create an offer or engage them to get product into hands? And this is the kind of segment you would create from that. So it'd be the exact same as we created before, but you would just always add in person has ordered 0 times overall time. And the same for a customer. You might have a special customer deal that you don't want to give to people that have never engaged with your brand before. This would be the exact same. It'd be the exact same segment, but the placed order would be at least once over time. And that's a great way where you can get in some highly targeted personalization based off of where on the customer journey the customer is. But important things to remember. So the time frame depends on your deliverability health. So if you were just creating an account and you had to warm up your audience, you would probably opt for a 14-day engaged at first, keep it very, very tight, build up the good engagement metrics and grow from there. If you've got really healthy deliverability, you might be okay with 180 days. I've seen some brands do 365 days engaged. But that's only when you know you've got great deliverability and great account health. And we'll go into a domain-specific one next. But let's just say you were going through a period where your deliverability was lowering, your sender reputation had taken a plummet. That would be the time where you would reduce the time frame to maybe 30-day engaged and make sure that it's going to a really tight segment to boost engagement metrics. And like I say, always remember to exclude Apple privacy from your segment. Very important, helps with accurate reporting. So the second segment we're going to go over for inclusion is a domain-specific segment. So this segment is based purely around a specific email domain or provider. So you'll see in this example here, we've gone for Hotmail engaged 30 days. So the email has to end with hotmail.com or hotmail.co.uk, and they've engaged with us in the last 30 days. So you're probably asking, when would we use this? This is a great domain, a great segment, to use when you need to improve your deliverability or account health on a certain domain. So let's take a real life example here. In the back end of a Klaviyo account, we went into the report and we got an open rate report for the last 90 days and a click rate report. As you can see here, the Hotmail Outlook is much lower than all the others, much, much lower. And that would correlate with the click rate as well. So in this case, you're looking at this and thinking, right, we could probably improve our deliverability and our sender reputation for Hotmail and Outlook. So what we might do with this segment is we might send just Hotmail a much tighter segment to start boosting those engagement metrics before we bring it back into the overall segment. So this segment is purely for when we want to tactically improve our engagement on certain domains and providers. And again here, main goal is we want to improve the sender reputation, but also a really important point, it can be used on both an exclusion and inclusion segment. So we might want to exclude people that are on Hotmail for a few campaigns just to boost deliverability, but we'll go on to that again soon. So the next segment is a zero-party data segment. So a zero-party data is essentially data that customers have given us. So think they've answered a quiz, they've answered a question on a pop-up, they've filled out a survey. This segment can be really great for creating highly targeted emails based off of what we know is important to that customer. So a good example here, we've been able to create a segment based off of people that have said that their skincare goal is to improve the appearance of lines and wrinkles. Suddenly that gives us a really great idea to potentially create an email campaign really based around targeting that specific goal because we know that's what they want to achieve. Here's an example of where that would relate to. So they've signed up to a pop-up to claim 10% off their next order. Share with us your number one skincare goal. So obviously the customers in this group have said improved appearance of lines and wrinkles. And then suddenly we know we're capturing zero-party data based on what customers want. But important things to remember. With the zero-party data segments, it's really easy to make the mistake of over-segmenting. Because it's capturing unique points from audiences and customers, depending on the size of brand, it might not be a massive data point. So you might only have 200 people that have said a specific goal. If that's the case, it might not make sense to do a whole campaign around it. And you're more likely to focus on flows, using it in the welcome flow to optimize the journey. So when doing these kind of segments, really pay attention to the size of the segment and ask yourself at this time, is that going to be worth creating a whole campaign? And lastly, a customer journey segment. So this segment could be based off of what products people have done or what products people have purchased with your brand. What have they done on the website? So as this example here, we're using the example of a sofa brand. And we've created a segment of person has placed order at least once over all time when they've purchased a sofa or a corner chase. But they've placed 0 orders over all time when it comes to a sofa jacket. So we've created a specific journey based off of, we know we want to see all the customers that have bought sofas but haven't bought a product that would actually complement their sofa. So let's look at a live example. This brand here have a collection for interchangeable jackets. It allows you to change the jacket of your sofa how you want, whether it's a new season, whether you want a new color, but you don't have to buy a new sofa. So this is a great example when this segment will become very handy, because we want to highlight all the people that would benefit from this product that haven't purchased it yet. And this can be great for boosting lifetime value, upselling, cross-selling, bringing people to a repeat purchase. So this can be a really handy segment, but you've just got to make sure that the segment is really tailored to what you want to link, and you want it to be linked to that it would actually buy that. So it wouldn't make sense probably if we was creating a segment where they've bought a sofa and they've also bought an armchair and we're going to send them an email about armchairs, because the highly likely is they don't need that. But in this case, it works really well. So important steps to remember. Like I said, this segment makes the most sense when it comes to upselling and cross-selling. It can also be great when you're launching a new product. Imagine you're a brand that's launching a new product and you're like, you know what? The products we've already sold really complement this new product. Let's create a segment of everyone that has bought this specific product. Can be really, really powerful. Now, always please remember, this is kind of a little bonus. When segmenting, it's so easy for emails and customers to fall through the loop and don't come into any segments. So you want to create a segment that basically says receive no email, and the time frame is up to you, whether it's in the last 30 days, whether it's in the last 15 days, whatever. 30 days makes a lot of sense. And then that keeps an eye on everyone that actually hasn't received an email and that slipped through the net, because you want to make sure you're emailing your whole audience. So really, really important one to remember. Now, exclusion segments, super, super important. Exclusion segments are segments that you want to exclude from your email campaigns. So you've created an email campaign of a 20% offer. You've sent it to your 90-day engage, but you also don't want to send it to the following groups. The ones we're going to go over are recently purchased, spam traps, flow exclusions, and bounced and deadweight emails. So let's start. Recently purchased. This segment is basically getting a group of people that have recently placed an order on your website. So in this example, we've done placed an order at least once in the last 14 days. I've seen some brands stretch that to 30 days, totally up to you and your business. But the main goal here is if someone's just purchased on your website, you don't necessarily want to be emailing them straight away. So this is a really great segment to exclude, just so that the customer journeys isn't overlapping. Why is it important? It really complements the customer journey, like I said, and it de-risks annoying customers. And most importantly, it gives the customers a chance to receive their most recent order and enjoy the experience. Imagine if you went on a website on Monday and bought a moisturizer, and then on Tuesday, suddenly there was this big site-wide 20% sale. You'd be really annoyed. Be like, I bought this yesterday at full price and now there's a sale. So this really allows you to de-risk that and has a lot more of a slicker customer journey. The second segment is the spam trap. So this is excluding segments based on spam activity. It's very common for bot accounts and spam accounts to sign up to our email list, clog up our whole email list, increase sends, but also ruin our deliverability. So what does this segment look like? Well, they've basically not engaged with the brand. They've never checked out, they've never clicked, they've never opened, they've never been active, they've never viewed a product, and they've received an email at least 5 times. This is basically telling me that we've got a spam email in our list, and we want to exclude them and get them off the email list as quick as possible. The challenge with a lot of brands is when they're sending to these audiences and emails, it's ruining their engagement metrics, which is ruining their sender reputation. So it's so important to protect yourself from this. As you build up the audience more, you start seeing similarities in spam emails. For me, a lot of spam emails have a plus sign in the email, and then you can start filtering that from flows. But this is so important. But just look at this and think, they've received at least 5 orders overall time. They've never once engaged with this brand. Let's get them off. Let's stop sending to them. And again, we'll go over that. It's very common for bot accounts to make their way onto the email list, and it protects your deliverability and account health. So really, really important. Flow exclusions. So this is essentially a exclusion segment, excluding segments based off being live in active flows. So I'll show you what this will look like. So imagine your business or businesses that you know would have flows that look like this. Welcome flow, abandoned checkout, first time purchase, post fulfilled order, birthday flow. If customers are in those flows, you don't want them getting campaign emails that overlap, that give different messaging, that can confuse the customer. So the best way to do that is by excluding. If anyone is in these flows, you want to exclude them from your campaigns. And again, let them have their own journey. Once they've finished that journey, they can come back into their campaigns. So what would this look like? So on the left here, we've got the start of a flow, and we've created a property that says exclude equals true. So by updating the property for exclude equals true, it allows us to make this segment, and that tells us, right, this customer is in this flow. We don't want them to be sending them campaigns. And then at the end of the flow, when they exit, we want to have an update exclude equals false, and that will then take them out of that segment. Now, the one thing to be mindful of here is it is common for someone to leave the flow midway through because they've purchased XYZ. So you'd also want to create a flow, which is basically a property cleanup flow, that if someone hasn't received an email in X amount of days, they automatically get updated to exclude equals false. But this is a great way to really tighten and keep the customer experience really tight. And then we've said that as well. So bounced emails and dead weight emails. So there's 2 types of bounces. There's a hard bounce, which is essentially, email dead, bounce straight away, and there's soft bounces. This could happen for a variety of reasons. Depending on which type of bounce it is will depend on how much leeway you want to give it. For me, if it's had 1 hard bounce, I want to remove it. But if someone's soft bounce, I'm happy to give it 3 times over all time before I look to exclude it. And then extras on this to make it dead weight. They've dropped an email at least once after all time. They've clicked an email to unsubscribe once over all time. They've marked us as spam. Basically, anyone in this segment you don't want to send the email to, whether they've bounced hard or they've shown clear reasons to unengage the brand. You want to keep these out of your campaigns to maintain deliverability. And again, it protects your health and sender reputation. So segmentation strategy. So how would I look to build strategy with actually using segments? So there's 3 segments we're going to use in this. Prospects, they've never purchased. One-time customers, they've purchased once over all time. And repeat customers, they've purchased 2 or more times. So how can we use this? Well, prospects, the flow would look like this. They've placed 0 orders over all time and they're subscribed. That's super important for us to know. If loads of emails, if your email list is growing, but the amount of people that have never actually purchased from you is growing, that leaves a few questions to be asked. Why haven't they purchased? What can we improve in our welcome flow? How can we activate the customer better? Or are we offering a low quality lead magnet? I have seen so many giveaway pop-ups. Sign up to our email list today and enter this competition that attracts such low quality visitors because it's not people that are going to buy from you. They're just like, yeah, why not? I might win a free sofa or I might win a free bed. So it allows you to start asking questions. You want this to be as low as possible. One-time customers. So this is what this segment will look like. They've placed an order that equals once over all time and they're subscribed. This allows you to start asking questions, right, if this is getting bigger, how can we improve our first or second purchase order? How can we get more people to repeat order? It allows you to start asking, do we have a good post-purchase experience? Are we focusing on education on the product, adoption, onboarding? But it also allows you to start asking question of, are people getting value from this product? If loads and loads of people are buying your product once and no one's coming back, that potentially is a really clear sign that, well, something's off here. Customers aren't getting the value, or they're not really sure how to use the product. Again, so important. And then repeat customers. So persons have placed order at least twice over all time. Now, what can we learn from this segment? The more someone purchases, the more it's clear that they're a high quality audience. They're a high quality customer. So in this case, we want to start learning about these so we can understand who to target. What are their jobs to be done? The people in this segment, why have they bought your product? Is it for a specific reason? Is it for a specific goal? Is there common themes with this section, that if it was a skincare brand, everyone in the repeat customer section had really dry skin and wanted to buy the overnight mask to wake up with fresher skin? Suddenly it's like, right, well, that product's giving great value, and that's a real jobs to be done. How can we learn about this customer? Can we send them surveys? Can we ask them questions? Can we get on the phone? What is it about their journey that's made them repeat and come back? And then also, how do we maximize value from this audience? Can we generate UGC from this audience? Can we generate a lot more social proof and reviews? How can we boost AOV and lifetime value even more? There's so many things with this audience that we can maximize value in all other areas of the business. So guys, that's it. I think that's my longest video today. I hope you found it helpful. The main takeaways from this is, I would say, make sure that you're excluding the right audiences from your campaigns. Who you don't send to is just as important. How you can make the most out of different inclusion segments, and then how can you use these segments for strategy. I hope you find this valuable. If you've got this far, I really appreciate you. Like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you think, and I'll see you on the next video. See you later, guys.